Hi, Grandma. I hope you're doing well today. I heard that you went to the doctor's office recently and that you were concerned about some of the blood work that you got back, talking about the different levels of cholesterol and fat in your blood. So I wanted to take a little bit of time to explain some of those different aspects of blood lipids to you. So there are four main classes of fats we talk about that exist in our blood and in our bodies, and it comes down to fatty acids, and those can be saturated or unsaturated, glycerides like triglycerides, non-glyceride lipids like sphingolipids, steroids, and waxes, and then complex lipids, which those include lipoproteins and glycolipids. So if we go back and start about the first one, talking about fatty acids, and fatty acids can either be saturated or unsaturated, and that comes down to the chemical structure of what exists on what we call the carbon backbone. And on the carbon backbone, if it's saturated, it means that you're seeing all single bonds on that carbon backbone. But if there's at least one double bond or more than one double bond, we can say that that fat is then unsaturated. If there is one double bond, then we can call it monounsaturated. But if there's more than one double bond, then we can call it polyunsaturated. And I kind of want to show you a picture of that here to kind of illustrate it better of what it looks like. So if we take a look at this top picture is showing the saturated fatty acid and how we have the carbon backbone and there's only single dashes, and those all represent single bonds. And on the bottom we have the unsaturated fatty acid, and you can see there's the one double bond being pointed out with the two dashed lines, making it an unsaturated fatty acid. So if we continue on, I also wanted to tell you that most saturated fats come from animal sources, while most unsaturated fats come from plant sources. So just something to keep in mind when you're eating different things in your diet. And that the dietary guidelines for Americans state that if you consume less than 10% of your calories from saturated fat and you replace those by those mono and polyunsaturated fats, that you can lower your blood cholesterol levels and actually lower the risk for cardiovascular disease. So fatty acids are what we kind of talked about here first, and next I want to talk about triglycerides a little bit. So I will start off by showing you another picture here about what a triglyceride looks like. So a triglyceride is here. It's three fatty acid tails with this glyceride backbone, which you kind of see here with my finger pointing to. So a little more information about triglycerides in your body, maybe what you saw in your blood report back from the doctor's office, that we really want triglycerides to be below 150 milligrams per deciliter of blood in the body. And then if they get over 200, that's considered bad. You might be wondering, what are different ways you can do to lower your triglyceride levels? Well, you can just eliminate them from your diet. Number one, you can reduce the number of simple carbohydrates that you're eating in your diet, but at the same time increase the amount of dietary fiber that you're eating on any given day. And then also weight loss helps with this. If a 5 to 10% decrease in weight can lead to a decrease by 20% in the triglycerides in your body. Next, your doctor is probably also throwing around the term cholesterol, and people usually talk about that but as being a bad thing. But I want to tell you that it's not always a bad thing, that it's really the building block for a lot of biologically active molecules in the body. And all of the cells in your body need it as part of their cell membrane structure. There are different cells in our body that can make cholesterol, and different organs in our body, specifically the liver, actually can make it and export it to other places in the body. And we talk about the numbers and what we want to see there. We're really looking for less than 200 milligrams per deciliter would be desirable of total cholesterol. And then anywhere from 200 to 239, we consider that borderline high. And then greater than 240 is kind of in that danger zone, the high level. As a kind of some fun facts here, that the average consumption in America is 256 milligrams a day. For men, it's 331, and for women, it's 213 milligrams a day consumption. And another fun fact is that half the cholesterol in our food supply here in America comes from eggs. So we're eating lots of eggs and getting lots of cholesterol from them. The last type of fat I wanted to talk to you about is basically the complex lipids. And those are lipids that contain cholesterol, protein, and triglycerides. We usually talk about the VLDLs, which is the very low density lipoproteins, the IDLs, or the intermediate density lipoproteins, and then also the LDLs. You probably heard that term used, which is the low density lipoproteins. So that's actually a pathway, if you want to call it, where the VLDLs are converted to IDLs by lipoprotein lipase, and then those are then converted to LDLs by hepatic lipase. So if we want to go back and talk about some more of these numbers for lowering our cardiovascular disease risk, the National Cholesterol Education Program says that we want our LDLs to be under 100 milligrams per deciliter, and that's the optimal range, where anything over 190 is very high. You might be wondering different ways that we can do to lower the LDL, and that could be eating more fish, losing weight, or once again lowering our carbohydrate intake. And also doing things that increase the lipoprotein lipase levels and decrease the hepatic lipase levels, going back to that conversion from the VLDLs to the LDLs and the IDLs. There's also different drugs you can take. You might have heard of statins, and statins also lower the production of LDLs in the body. And an interesting fact relating back to cardiovascular disease and coronary artery disease is that for every 1% in the reduction of LDL levels, the coronary heart disease risk will also decrease by 1% as well. So not all these different types of fat in the body are bad. Specifically, one we call HDL is a good cholesterol in the body. It's called HDL because it's high density lipoprotein, so it's 40 to 55% protein. Like I said, it's the good blood protein that we have in our body. It basically is good because it helps remove cholesterol from our blood. And as the level of HDL increases in our body, the chance of coronary heart disease or coronary artery disease actually decreases. Anything below 40 milligrams per deciliter is considered low, and then anything above 60 is considered high, which is actually good for us. Things that can increase our HDL levels are vitamin B3, fibrates, statin drugs, and then also diet and exercise are good ways to increase your HDL. So I hope this gave you some beneficial information about the different blood lipids, Grandma. I hope to talk to you again soon. Bye.